Great.
Okay. Hi, everybody. You're very welcome to our May webinar. Our May webinar. I need to do my tongue twisters. Our May webinar. May webinar. My name is Jo, and I am from the DABBLEDOO drama program.
And I'm Shane, and I run the DABBLEDOO music program.
And I'm Máirín, and I run DABBLEDOO art.
Super. So thank you so much for joining us. It's very, very exciting doing these webinars, getting to talk to teachers and share all of our program with you. And also really nice just to recap on lessons that we've created for you. We've got a fun May packed lessons.
Yeah, and a lot of what we're going to do over the next while is we're going to go through each of the subjects and give a little preview as to what's coming up. So if you're using DABBLEDOO, it's a good chance to have a listen to us talking about the different lessons that are coming up in the month of May. And if you haven't used DABBLEDOO before, it's a nice chance for you to look at some of our lessons and see some of the content and ask any questions. So if you want to ask any questions in the chat along the way, anytime, ask away, and we're here to answer, whether it's about music, drama, or art. We can answer any questions. And I said there'll be little snippets in between of little previews that we've prepared of the lessons in May. So it's kind of exciting time, busy time at schools as well.
Very busy.
Yeah,
Very busy.
Máirín was a classroom teacher as well, so she knows how busy it is, first-hand experience.
I understand.
Yeah, we understand. We get it. There's so much going on in May and June.
Between, standardized testing, communions, confirmations, getting ready for the end of the year, it's a hectic time of year.
So we hope we can bring a bit of ease with the content that we have, and also bring a bit of fun and lightness into the classroom as well as you move through all of those very busy times. So shall we take a little look at some of the snippets?
Yeah. Let's maybe have a look at the music first. So there's loads of songs. It's coming into summertime, so there's loads of fun summer time, loads of kind of music and songs from sunny places as well. So there's some lovely Jamaican music in there. There's lovely kind of American folk music in there as well. There's all sorts of nice stuff. So yeah, we can have a little look at the music content coming up in May. So the lessons for junior infants for May this year, there's some great songs and activities based around springtime and music for spring. So there's some great fun summery music here. The first one is, and there's a great one, Che Che Koole. There's a couple of games for playing outside. There's Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, but there's a kind of a hip hop version of that. And there's a spring composition talking about the different sounds we have at springtime, and that includes a walk outside around the playground. So we'll have a little look at Che Che Koole, because this is one of the favourite songs that all classes have. They do it actually in infant classes, then repeat it in third class, and then sixth class again at varying levels. So this is just the basic version for junior infants. And there's a lovely animation to show the contour of the melody. So this is a call and response. It's a song from Ghana. So that means the call and response means that one person would sing the first part and the rest would respond. So you can do this with the teacher and the class, or dividing the group up into two different groups. Shouts hey at the end. So they can follow the contour, follow the audio as well, and that's a great fun one for the infant classes. And that's a little look at all the May lessons for junior infants. Now, senior infants for May have similar seasonal things for spring, so songs, activities for outside. So again, some games for playing outside. There's an amazing song by our artist in residence, Larry Bow, who wrote a beautiful song about the four seasons actually, and different scenes and things he imagines and remembers from his childhood from the different seasons. There's more rhythm we can play with Igor, and then there's summer music and poetry, which is a lovely lesson about a poem and what kind of sounds we hear in that poem. We'll have a quick look at the games for outside. It starts actually with a nice interactive resource about bird sounds. So this is identifying different birds. There's a seagull, cuckoo, and so on. So there's a few fun ones there to get them listening to the different sounds of birds at this time of year. There's loads of birds around. And then there's a couple of games we can play. One's called Bounce High, Bounce Low, and the other's Who Stole My Chicken and My Hen. They're both games you could play as circle games outside, so the full class standing around in a circle. Bounce High, Bounce Low, you can have a ball, a soft ball, or a cuddly toy or something that you throw around, and it's a name game that you pass around. And Who Stole My Chicken and My Hen is a great game where they have to use their ears to identify who is singing the song. So it's kind of a fun one to play. Someone goes in the middle blindfolded and they have to guess who's singing. So it's a great one to kind of play around with making funny sounds and things. There's some warm-up videos there as well, and there's also a sound treasure hunt that the children can do outside. So they can walk around the outside of the school, the playground, whatever area you have, and they have to tick off when they hear a bird, when they hear a car, when they hear a ball bouncing, when they hear the teacher singing is another one, so you can be in control of that one. So some great fun games now that the weather's getting better to play outside. So that's the May lessons for senior infants. The May lessons for first class this year are similar to other classes. There's loads of songs there, and they're along sunny themes and sunny places. So Tingo Leo is a Jamaican song. So there's a great version of that by Cedella Brooker Marley, Bob Marley's mother, who's playing a wonderful version of it there. She's an amazing singer and activist, and there's a great festival that we talk about that she runs there. But that's a lovely song, nice summery song. There's also another lesson about summer music and poetry and the combination of those. Skip to Malou, another nice song, and Frere Jacques. So there's loads of songs there for first class. But I think the highlight for me is that Tingo Leo song, which is great fun and a nice summery song to do. So there's lyrics down below, and there's a sing-along version with myself and Susan.
Tingaleo, come little donkey, come. Tingaleo, come little donkey, come. My donkey walk, my donkey talk, my donkey.
So it's a nice simple song and a fun summery one to do for this time of year. So that's the May lessons for first class. The May lessons for second class, again, have loads of nice song singing, and we have Jazz Cat, who's still in here. So Jazz Cat is the one with the interactive resource, and we have animations to show the contour of the melody going up and down, and they're call and response, so they're great for practicing singing. We have summer sounds composition, so that's all about thinking about the sounds that you hear this time of year. So you can include that with a walk outside in the playground. So there's loads of these activities that you can do outside as well. And then there's Peter and the Wolf, which is an artist profile of the composer Prokofiev. We'll just take a quick little look at the Aiko Aiko. So this is a highlight for me for second class for May. And there's a great song called Aiko Aiko. The Dixie Cups sang a famous version of it originally. And then Dr. John is a very famous New Orleans musician that we look at here. And there's an amazing version of Aiko Aiko featuring Dr. John and an array of amazing musicians from around the world for the children to listen to there. And then we have a very special version of Aiko Aiko by a musician called Kev Sheridan from Bettystown. And he's from Bettystown but works in Berlin now as a producer and DJ, and he makes music over there. But there's a great sing-along version that he's done for the kids with electronic music, so it's a different twist on the song.
Apart from that, I'm also going to be using some reverb, and if you've ever been in a big church...
And he talks about the electronic music and all the kind of equipment he uses.
You shout or you
so it's an interesting one all about electronic music as well. Let's hear a little bit of what he does. So Kev talks to the children in that video about using loops and using electronic music and to sing that Aiko Aiko song. So that is May's lessons for second class. Third class lessons in May have loads more singing again, and they're looking at the major scale. So we kind of have this spiral system in the music where they start looking at do, re, mi for the first couple of classes and simple songs with a short range of notes. Then they talk about the pentatonic scale, which is a 5-note scale. And then in third class, they start looking at the major scale, which is a full major scale. And we also use that JazzCat resource, which is an interactive resource. Have a quick look at that. Interactive resource where the children can follow notes going up and down. And it's a great way for them to visualize the scales, particularly when they get to a full major scale. So I'll play this. You can get an idea. And it's a call and response, so the children can listen to those bits. Da, da, da. So the green bits will be JazzCat, and then the rest of the class fill in the other bits. So that's how JazzCat works. And then there's a extra layer of it where you can add chords underneath, so they can sing that and listen to the chords, the backing track underneath. One other song there that's good to point out is Don't Worry, Be Happy, which is, I think, one of the highlights for this time of year for third class. This is Bobby McFerrin, an amazing song. So they get to listen to some of Bobby McFerrin, who's an amazing vocalist and does also interesting things with his voice. And then a famous song, Don't Worry, Be Happy, and a cool video for them to watch as well. So that is some of the highlights for third class for May. The May lessons for fourth class are similar songs themed around spring and summertime. There is a pentatonic scale lesson with a really cool band called Kurungi Bin. There is Yellowbird, a nice song for this time of year with the dawn chorus and all of that. The singing major scale with JazzCat, which is the interactive resource which is call and response and helps the children visualize the contours of melodies and look at different scales and how they're made up. And then there's a great song about songs about nature, and there's a new lesson with a new video here with the Supertones Children's Choir that the children can watch the video of a concert we filmed last year, and then they can see they can watch a video to warm up, learn how to sing the song, and there's a backing track there as well for them to sing. So we'll look at a little bit of this Supertones video here. And this is a song called Silver Birch.
Silver birch, 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 silver birch,
So that's a traditional Canadian song there, Silver Birch. So, and that ties in with a song that we have from an amazing artist called Anamika, and these are all songs around themes around nature. So that is fourth class, the lessons for May. The May lessons for fifth class again have JazzCat, and there's a version of Frere Jacques there that we can sing in 2 parts. So that's a great lesson if you want to get your class doing something a bit more interesting with their singing, where one singing the melody and then one sings the melody a bar later. It's called a round. So that's a kind of contemporary or kind of an interesting way to sing Frere Jacques, and there's a animation with that as well to show them the contour of the melody in 2 parts. There's some more Irish music in May as well, but there's a middle lesson here that's a great new one, and this is all about Niwal Tsombu, who is an artist in residence with DABBLEDOO, and he's a Congolese musician from Kinshasa, and he's lived in Ireland for 15 years, and he's an amazing musician across all sorts of folk music, classical music, jazz music, plays all sorts of genres, and we have a little interview with him at the start, learn more about him, and then he plays a couple of songs that the class can join in with. So that's a really interesting lesson and a couple of great songs to learn there and a couple of new languages to pick up as well for the class. So that's the fifth class lessons for May. The sixth class lessons for May have another few artists in residence here, and we also have some other artist profiles that we have. So there's a great mix of different artists for sixth class of different genres and styles for them to see. The first one is Zoe Conway, who was in with us recently shooting new videos, Jimi Hendrix and Kraftwerk. So there's a whole spread of different musical styles across there. And the month actually starts in May for sixth class with a lesson about sea shanties, with a famous sea shanty they've done before, or they will have heard before in there. And just to finish up, we'll have a little look at this Zoe Conway video we have. Zoe and her husband John are amazing musicians, have been playing together for years, so they recorded a couple of very special sessions for us here. A song they can sing along with and a couple of jigs for them to listen to as well. So that's a quick look at some of the lessons for 6th class for May. So there you go. Loads of fun songs. I think it's a time of year. The kind of curriculum in each of the classes from infants all the way to the 6th moves in similar kind of technical ideas all the way through. So they do rhythm at the same time, they do dancing and movement all around the same time. And this time of year, they're all doing songs. And it's kind of a lot of happy summery songs from around the world.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Shane, how do you decide what songs you're putting into a lesson or in the curriculum?
Yeah, it's tricky. We were chatting about this earlier on. Well, one of the first things is that we have to choose songs where the lyrical content is suitable for children.
Yeah.
So that means that 99% of pop songs ever written you can't have in there. So it's very tricky picking pop songs in particular. Folk songs are easier to choose. So there's a lot of folk songs that we have in there from around the world that are, folk songs by their nature. A lot of the time were sung with communities and sung with families. And a lot of them were children's songs as well. So the songs like Tingoleo is a children's song from Jamaica. Che Che Kule is a children's song. So a lot of those the African folk songs that even Newell helped us put into the curriculum are all to be sung with children, like Kanzenzenze is a children's song as well. So the folk songs are easier. The pop songs are kind of tricky to choose. And yeah, it's just kind of going through a huge kind of list of songs and trying to pick them out. And also it's tricky for different age groups as well, because another thing we were talking about was the difference between selling a song to infant classes and then trying to sell a song to 5th and 6th class, which is a very different prospect of going into the class, if you're going into 1st class with a song and you sell it, they're probably going to go along with it and think it's a great song. 5th and 6th class, you really have to sell it.
Yeah.
And one piece of advice I give to teachers is that, especially with the older classes, that you have to like the song yourself. So listen to it beforehand. If it's a song that you don't like at all, then it's going to be very hard to sell it, especially the older classes. And that in that case, there's loads of other songs we have. Even on the DABBLEDOO website, there's a whole collection of folk songs and pop songs. So I mean, if there's one in the lessons that you don't think your class are going to like, or you don't like personally, then choose another song that you do like. So I think that's something I've always done with teaching, even teaching guitar. I'd never teach a song that I didn't like.
Amazing.
Although the kind of reverse way around, a lot of the time when kids would bring you a song that you don't like at the start, you end up loving it because you've taught it to them as well. So you have to get good at that. But that's kind of a big part, and something that actually it's common across. Teachers will have noticed this as well with older classes. And it's a studied thing that all happens to all humans in the way we listen to songs and the way we listen to different types of songs. From we're infants, we listen to loads of different types of songs, and our ears are open to listening to different genres and different styles of songs. And that goes up and up and up, and we want to get more songs and more different types of songs. But when we hit around the age of 10 or 11, it completely drops, where we only want to listen to one type of music. And any teacher or any parent would also know that happens to us all. Our ears close off. We don't want to listen to any types of new music. We just want to focus on one type. And then it gradually picks up again until we go into our teenage years, and then we start listening to loads more stuff. By the time we go to college, you're listening to loads of things again. But it's something to be aware of for teachers that around 5th and 6th class is just a natural thing that humans have, that we want to close ourselves off for some reason to listen to new styles and genres of music. And I said, that is a thing that they've studied and they've shown time and time again.
That's really, I can even thinking back to when I was a kid, I was like, oh, surely I didn't. And I was like, yeah, no, there's definitely one band I picked when I was 11, and that got me through most of my
Yeah.
It's fascinating.
It's not that you don't want to listen to music. It's just you go, I want to listen to the Beatles, or I want to listen to whatever it is, Taylor Swift nonstop, and just listen to that. You could be a complete fanatic, listen to it on repeat, but you don't want to listen to too many different styles.
Mhm.
You just want to focus on one. So it's another one. It's also one of the reasons why in some of the music lessons for 5th and 6th class, why there's a selection of songs. So a lot of the songs or the lessons where there's listening involved, there'll be like 3 or 4 songs that they listen to and compare and contrast, as opposed to just giving one option. Because with 5th and 6th class, it could be the case if you've just got one song that they won't like it, and that's the lesson kind of gone already. Yeah. So yeah, it's tricky choosing them, but yeah, I think giving loads of options is one of the most one of the best ways to get through it.
Certainly, like with my thirds last year, they absolutely loved Che Kool, and they loved Don't Worry Be Happy was on loop at cleanup time for about a week or two afterwards.
Yeah.
They were obsessed with it.
Yeah,
And
it's a big one. Yeah,
it's a
Don't
big
worry,
one.
be happy.
And we used Che Kool then as a callback if I wanted them to like stop working and look above me. We'd use Che Kool because it's that kind of call and response.
Yeah.
So
Great.
Call and response ones, actually, the call and response songs all through the curriculum, and from analysing what are the most popular lessons, that like 3 out of the top 5 songs are call and response. So those ones were Che Kool,
Che Kool,
Che Kofisa.
Che Kofisa.
Those type of songs are always top, and Jambo is another one. So there's the songs in there that are the call and response, and they're great for that kind of classroom management
Oh
kind
yeah.
of thing as well. They're great for that. Yeah. Yep. So they're the popular ones.
Brilliant. I wonder, is it the same with literature? Because when my nieces and nephews got to about 10, 11, 12, like they only wanted to read certain books, and it was like the 17th version of a certain book, and it was like, oh, the next one's coming out and the next one. So maybe,
Yeah.
I wonder, is it similar?
Yeah.
Like
could
it
be very
tastes,
similar.
yeah, it tastes in general.
I
You
think
just
I think it's something as well to do with just forming groups as well, because they make
Yeah.
their friends, and that's when you form these very strong friendships when you're that age. And in your group, you listen to this, or in your group,
Yeah.
you read these books or whatever.
Yeah.
It could be something to do with that group forming that they're doing, especially when they're getting ready for going into secondary school. They want to be in their little gang.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's interesting psychology behind the whole thing, but it's something to keep in mind as well. Yeah.
there's 5th and 6th class teachers out there who have seen this
Yeah.
unfold in person.
Absolutely, yeah.
Great
So
to-
there's reasons why
Yeah.
it's happening.
Yeah, it's so funny as well. Some kids can just like, don't like it, and it's like closed. My mind is closed, and we're all a bit like that as well. But it is just about
Oh,
kind
I'm
of
sorry. I'm definitely like that.
trying to, more as you get older, trying to figure out, exactly what works for your class and what works for you, because it is very hard to sell something that you're not really that interested in.
Yeah.
You don't really like. So that was great. Thank
There you
you,
go.
Shane.
So yeah, next up.
Next up,
Drama.
yeah. So we are going to be looking at some of the drama content for May. In May's lessons, you're going to see all about it in a second, but one of the things there's a really fun kind of theme running through it of making decisions, and then also some school tour lessons. So also a time for school tours and school trips. There is you'll see that in a second with the Che Kool, but just talking about that call and response, I was reminded about when I was younger, and you're on a bus, and it's like all those back and forth songs on the bus, and the bell to the bus driver, all those different songs. You just all came flooding back to me when I was working on those lessons. But it's a really fun thing, isn't it, when you're a kid, just to like scream it back and do it lower and higher, and it's really fun. And we have some really fun songs like that coming up. They're going to be tinkling into a couple of different lessons in music and drama coming up in September. Lots of call and responses and fun warm-up songs. So I think we're ready to go with previewing our drama lessons. So off we go. Hi everybody, and welcome to our May drama content preview. We're going to start off with junior infants. So let's take a look at the lessons for junior infants in May. We have decision making, the school trip, change and grow, and the school talk show. So let's just take a little look at lesson 29, decision making. So I'm going to click in here and see what's happening. Okay, so nice little warm up, get them in the mood for the drama lesson. A lovely game, guess what I'm doing? And then we're moving into decision making. So they'll be talking about different decisions that they make in their day, in their daily life, and then moving into some fairy tales. So thinking about fairy tales that they're already familiar with, and thinking about characters that had to make big decisions or things that they had to really think about before moving on in the story. You can also work on a story that you've been working on in your class, or relate back to any characters that they already know. So that is junior infants for May. let's move on to senior infants. Senior infants May content, we have the 4 seasons, the school trip, change and grow, and reflection of the year. So we're going to take a look at change and grow. So in this lesson, it's actually such a lovely lesson. They're going to imagine that it's Grandparents' Day. So their grandparents are coming into the school and they're going to be doing some interviews with the granny or the granddad. And then some grandparents are gone crazy. So things start to happen in the school and they're going to create scenes around that. So for example, grandparents getting lost in the school, getting stuck in a PE class, grandparents forgetting their lunch, and then a lovely section about changing and growing partner work. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in those lessons. So also just a little note, I mean, obviously lots of drama lessons can bring up sensitive issues. So just be mindful if there's any issues going on with your class members at the moment, just be a bit more sensitive. And if grandparents doesn't really suit right now, you could just say something like an adult that you admire or something like that, a grown up that you admire. So that is senior infants for May. Let's move on to first class May content. So in the May content for first class, we have decision making, the school trip, change and grow, and the school talk show. So let's take a little look at the school trip lesson. So there is a really lovely link here with our music program. They're going to be singing Cheche Kule. So this is a really, really great song from Ghana. You would have heard Shane talking about this in the music program. It's a lovely movement song. It's also call and response. So the reason I have this in this lesson is because I love it. And also because on the school tour, they're talking about going on their trip. And obviously there's lots of call and response songs that people do on buses on the way to school tours. But also there's a little bit in the story about a call and response. So I wanted to link those all in. And then there is some questions about that tour. And then the children have an opportunity to create a fun story about a disastrous school trip. So that should be really funny to see what they come up with. So that is the May content for first class. Moving on to second class content for May, we have some lovely lessons here, nice and chill for the second class. We have mindful moments, Mardi Gras, summertime, and reflection of the year. So we're going to take a look at the mindful moments lesson here. And there's a lovely new video here called Mindful Square Breathing. This is the first time you would have seen this video in our drama content. Lovely square breathing exercise here just to bring a bit of calm, bit of mindfulness into the class. And then another new thing, second class are spoilt. They're getting 2 new things in their lessons this month. So we have emoji cards. So we created these just recently, the full team. So these are different emotion cards that the teacher will hold up in the class, and then the kids will respond in whatever way relating to whatever card they're holding up. So we have different ones: funny, happy, sad, scared. So they're in the lessons. I highly recommend you just print them off, have them underneath your desk, and you can pull them out for any kind of different games. They will be working on some mindful moment scenes here. So scenes that are set in nice, calm spaces. So lovely little lesson here to just take it all down a notch. So that's second class May content. Moving on to third class May content, we have decision making again here, school trip, change and grow, and the school talk show again here. So a level up from what we've just been doing in the last classes. So similar themes, similar topics, but different activities in each one. So let's take a look at the school talk show. So lesson 32. So it begins with name and news, and then we're moving into the school talk show. So there's a video here describing what to do in the school talk show. Let's just take a quick look at this. I'll just skip on from our intro.
Hi everybody. Let's talk about the school talk show that we're going to make in our groups today. So in your talk show, you're going to have a host. Somebody who's going to interview the people on your show. The guests that might be on your show might be experts in a certain experience or a field.
Okay, so here we're encouraging the children to create a news report about something they're interested in, because, it's so many kids can get a little bit fatigued with certain subjects. So let them create this whole theme themselves and give them ownership over it. So if they're really into sports or they're really into cooking, give them the space and the time to create a show all about that. And they will absolutely love it and love you for it as well. So that is, what class was that? That was third class May content. Moving on to fourth class May content, we have the school TV show, the school trip, Sing Your Heart Out, the school talent show, and festival preparation. Let's take a look at Sing Your Heart Out talent show. So this is a really fun lesson, fun and interesting. So the children are going to be faced with different characters who are in a bit of a tricky, sticky situation. So all got to do with this school talent show that's happening called Sing Your Heart Out. Each group will work on a different character from the whole story. So we've got group 1 are working on Connor, who's 10, who loves sports but is really passionate about singing as well, and bit of a tricky situation with his friends. They are saying to him, singing isn't very cool, you shouldn't be singing. Then Granny Colette, who is a bit concerned about her grandson, who is Connor. So all kind of linked a little bit, but they all have their own little issues that are happening at the same time too. So really nice opportunity for the children to see outside of their own perspectives and to think about what characters feel in certain situations and what they might do. So again, would love to be a fly on a wall for those lessons and those scenes. So that is fourth class May content. Moving on to fifth class May content, we have decision making, the school trip, change and grow, and the school talk show. So we are going to have a look at the school trip here. I actually love this lesson so much. The game at the beginning can be quite tricky. It's a concentration counting game. So you might have done this before. Basically, they want to try and count to 25 or 20. You might only make it to 5, but they have to close their eyes and say a number. And then if somebody says the number twice, say if you say 1, 2, the next person says 3, and 2 people say 4, then you have to go back to the start again. It can be very frustrating, but it's a really good concentration exercise. Anyway, the meat of the lesson, we have our dream school tour. So they're going to be creating ads about their dream school tour. We have an example here from Kilkenny Castlecomer Discovery Park. And it just gives them details here of what they need in an ad and what the kind of juicy information is that people are looking for, specifically teachers who might be interested in booking a school tour. So it'll be fun to see what they come up with and what their dream school tour might be like. That was May content for 5th class. Hope you love it. Moving on to 6th class content for May. We have making decisions, planning an event, reflecting and mindful moments, and the school TV talk show. I'm going to tap in here to making decisions. So we have a lovely new full body stretch here for 6th class. Really, really nice. It's actually quite a long video, so make sure you give yourself enough time. I'm just going to tap in here just to give you a little look at it.
We are flat on the ground, just a little bit apart. Great.
Lovely. So that is about 3 minutes long, so make sure you give yourself enough time and obviously give the children enough space to do that warm up. Then we're moving into our main part of the lesson, sustainability. So this is a really nice interview that we did with a friend of ours in Bray. She has a vintage shop. So the whole idea of this is we are thinking about how to make better decisions that have a little bit more of an environmental thought behind it. So how can you make a difference just by small little changes? So in this lesson, they're going to be creating ads. So creating ads about sustainability for their school TV show or maybe YouTube channel or something that could make up that they have. So they're creating ads about that. And this is a lovely little video with our friend Ruth and lovely insight into what her life is like running a sustainable vintage shop in Bray. So that was our May content for 6th class. Thank you so much for tuning in and I hope you have a great time. And as always, get in touch with us if you have any questions, comments or queries. Thank you so much. So
Great.
that was our May content. So yeah, loads going on.
Loads going on. There's loads of stuff. It's just interesting about, there's lots of stuff around decision making and drama. So like what kind of led you to add those lessons into a drama program for
Um,
decision making?
Thank you for the question. I love bringing young people into a situation where they have to think about things before they actually do it, which is really hard, especially when they come into their teenage years. A lot of kids, a lot of teenagers just do stuff to make other people laugh or whatever. They don't really think about it. Whereas if you've done stuff in drama beforehand, you have a bit more of a head on you to think about things before you actually do it. And when you do certain situations in drama, it's almost like a rehearsal for when you're in a real life social situation. So you get to do it in a nice, safe environment in your drama lesson where you're surrounded by people who are supporting you and a lovely teacher in role or a teacher there as a support system. And it's a lovely space where you can just almost practice saying the things like, I don't want to do that, or what I like to do is this, and what I prefer is, or stop doing that. That's not fair. So some people who might see, say, for example, a situation where someone's being bullied, they mightn't even have the vocabulary to say, stop that, that's not fair. Whereas if they've done a situation like that in drama, they'll already have done that with their peers, they'll have said it, they'll have, and the more you say things, the more you repeat them, the stronger they feel and the more confident you get. So the whole idea is that like you'll have an idea of what the situation might be like. And like they're the ones I have put in the lessons, like thinking about, from a younger age, decisions that characters make in fairy tales. Like they're very, very basic, but they're giving them that groundwork of the thinking, critical thinking. What would I do in this situation? And then as they get a little bit older, say for example, with that 4th class lesson with Connor and Granny Colette, it's thinking outside, because a lot of people, no matter what age you are, they can get really stuck in like their own lives and their own problems and not really see it from someone else's point of view. So I think it's nice to like look at how Granny feels when Connor is not feeling really confident singing in the school show, and what does then the person who was telling him that singing isn't cool and he needs to just be doing sports all the time, just seeing all the different perspectives, talking about it, discussing it, acting it out, and then like just kind of reflecting on it in a critical way as well, which is really helpful. So I adore it. And even like loads of workshops in the past I've done and plays I used to do were all centered, especially for all the theatre and education work I did, it was all centered around decision making and making not the good decision, the right decision, but making sure that you knew you were confident in the decision that you were making.
Yeah, no, and I think it's really important in schools to give kids space to practice that. I'm sure all of us have rehearsed a phone call before we had to make it before. So
Yeah.
it's a very natural thing to want to do, and it's probably like a really safe environment for them to try and figure out how to make these decisions and how to talk about things that are bothering them, I suppose. Yeah.
And in that group dynamic as well, we could be working together and you'll say, oh, why don't I say, don't go and do the show, because singing isn't cool. Say, for example, think about that character, Connor. And then I might say to you, actually, it's better if you say it like this, or, so you're negotiating, you're navigating good kind of responses, interesting responses, healthy responses, and maybe like even giving it from the like non-healthy perspective as well, whereas like the kind of bullying side of it and seeing what does that sound like, and then what does it feel like to say those kind of mean words as well in your body. And so hopefully they go down well. There's a lot of background in some of those stories, which will be interesting and hopefully helpful for the teachers to just give to the young people, send them off into your groups, and you can get your class reports done while they're working in those groups.
Brilliant.
It's so important, those kind of personal and social aspects of education, and drama is amazing for the importance of drama in education for those purposes, because there's very few other subjects that can deal with those things as specifically as in drama. And like you're saying, rehearsing those kind of situations that everyone is in every day of their lives, and it's all about interacting with people like there, because people talk about the value of drama and the value of different subjects and the hierarchy of subjects, but I don't know how many times I use maths a day, but I interact with people all day, every day.
Exactly.
And that's the kind of real importance of drama, is that, like you're saying, that practice of interacting and the personal skills and figuring out how we all work together. It's great.
And also like with the 6th class lesson, like making more like environmentally friendly or thoughtful decisions. with that video about the vintage shop. Like, we don't want Earth Day to be a day, you know, especially as a company, like we're constantly trying to work a bit more sustainably. So I didn't want to just abandon that in April and go, okay, that's done. I wanted to keep it going. And it's always something that you'll see throughout the whole DABBLEDOO program. And, you know, in our office and as humans and citizens, we're always trying to be a little bit more environmentally friendly. So hope you enjoy that video of sixth class. And if anyone's near Bray or take a look at that shop.
Seeing a question that came through there? No, no.
No.
That's
And
just from earlier.
If there are any questions, you can ask away. Yeah.
So I guess now we could take a little look of what's coming up for art. So we're still waiting for our full release, which is coming very soon. And so what I've done for this month is giving you 4 lessons from our free trial that you can download right now. You can sign up to right now. And it's 4 of the lessons from these that are kind of a bit more like low prep, easy to kind of set up for those days where there's so much going on. Maybe they've just done the Sigmas and you need something for them to wind down after such a long stretch of intense work. So let's take a look at some of those ideas. Okay, so for art this month, I realize May is a really busy time of year for so many different reasons, standardized tests, communions, confirmations. So I just want to show you guys 4 different art lessons that you can use that are low prep and easy and quick. These are the kind of things we want towards the end of the year. So starting off with junior and senior infants, these are all available in our art free trial. So if you haven't signed up for it already, make sure you do that. We're going to go to lesson 18, Yayoi Kusama. So this lesson is about the Japanese artist Yayoi Kusama. And so at the start, there's a little bit about her and her background. And her main kind of characteristic style is these polka dots. So the art activity attached to this is a painting activity that simply involves painting the template that we provided, all in one colour, any colour the kids like, maybe encourage them to use their favourite colour. And then using a cotton earbud or finger painting as well, they're going to fill that pumpkin with polka dots. Try and encourage them to keep them all in a straight line, because then that really kind of emanates Yayoi Kusama's style. So that's our quick kind of infants lesson, and it's a really nice way to learn a little bit more about artists from all around the world, with a nice little activity then at the end of it. So moving on then to first and second class, our next lesson, we're going to go down here to lesson 20, Fruity Faces. So you will have to do a little bit of preparation for this. Head on down to your local supermarket. The ones that have the catalogues of what's coming up for the week are brilliant for this. And gather as many as you feel comfortable in taking. In my experience, the shops have been more than happy to give you a lot of their ones from, say, the previous week that they're trying to get rid of anyway. So, just like the infants lesson, this first and second class lesson goes through the artist Giuseppe Arcimboldo. So, he's a Renaissance artist, and his characteristic style is that he paints portraits that are composed of fruits and vegetables, as you can see at the moment. So, the kids will find these quite kind of humorous to look at as well, and they'll have a bit of fun trying to figure out what all the different shapes are. I see a pear, I see some grapes. Oh, I love strawberries. So have a look at the work. There's some questions then about what they think of the artwork. And then using those supermarket catalogues, preferably one for every child or every 2 children, they're going to go through the catalogues and try and make a face using some of the food items that are in that catalogue. So it doesn't just have to be fruit and veg. It can be whatever food is available in that particular one. You can see in the example there's a big parsnip nose. The face is a chicken, I believe. So it can be quite a light-hearted lesson, and again, quite low prep and a nice, simple, easy one to do maybe after the Sigmas or something like that. So that was first and second class. Moving on then to third and fourth class. So we are looking at optical illusions art, or op art. So this lesson starts by looking at the works of Bridget Riley. So she was a very prominent painter who kind of really led the way for optical illusion art. So there's a lot of different optical illusions they can look at throughout and have a bit of fun of seeing how that illusion was created. And then they are encouraged to make an optical illusion of their own. So 2 examples are provided in the lesson, or they can come up with one of their own, or they might be familiar with ones from having drawn or having looked through some optical illusion art in the past. So again, this is a really nice one. All they need is a pen, paper, some pencils, some colouring. It's very low prep, and it's very it's a nice time-consuming one if they just need something to unwind with after tests or in preparation for communions, confirmations, things like that. And then finally, we are heading over to 5th and 6th class for their lesson called thaumatropes. So a thaumatrope is a Victorian era toy, an animation tool, and it's an optical illusion toy. So they'll have a bit of fun learning about a bit of the history of animation before kind of computers came into it, and then getting to make this optical illusion toy themselves. So there is a little bit of information on the start about some of these Victorian era machines and toys that they would have used for animation, one of them being a zoetrope. So there's a video there. I just want to remind you there is a warning on the lesson, but that video does have strobe lighting, so if you have any children in your class who might be affected by that, you might want to consider watching the video first yourself before showing it to the class. And I'll play a little bit of this here because it looks...
This is a zoetrope.
Very
It
cool.
takes inanimate objects, like these
This is
tiny
a
frogs,
3D zoetrope.
and propels them into motion.
The traditional kind of Victorian ones were 2D. But again, that illusion is something that they'll quite enjoy looking at and figuring out how they made it. And then there's a quick little video explaining what exactly a thaumatrope is. So there is actually a video that is in the lesson showing them exactly how to make the thaumatropes. And the instructions are written in the lesson as well in case there's any difficulties getting access to the video. So I'll just play a little bit of this video for you now just to show what a thaumatrope actually looks like.
This is a thaumatrope. This is a toy that's been around for over 100 years. How does it work? Each side has 2 parts of one design. On this side, we can see an empty fish tank. And on this side, we have our goldfish.
So the idea is that those 2 images blend together. So it gives the kids a chance to be really creative and thinking about what 2 images they could try and combine. Is it a person on one side and a hat on the other? Is it a dog on one side and a ball on the other side? And again, all you really need is colouring materials, paper, and a hole punch if you have one. If not, a pencil through the paper will do as well. So, and if one of the extension activities then is, if you think you could figure out how, why not get them to try and make their own zoetrope or look into that whole area of animation as a project then going into the end of the year. So that's just a very quick run through of some quick kind of low prep or kind of minimal materials lessons that you can use in May in the lead up to the summer holidays. May is a really busy month for teachers, so anything that can kind of help you guys out and can kind of ensure that you're continuing on all the amazing art and music and drama that you've been doing throughout the year. These are just a few more examples, and there's loads more in the free trial as well, very similar style of lessons, so I do recommend having a look through the other lessons as well.
Thank you so much.
Great, they're all cool, yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Very good.
So yeah, like they're just going through the trial lessons, and like this time of year you just want, like, you're tired, you've 20 something reports to write, and you're trying to keep on top of all of your subjects, and art was the one for me last year. I was like, oh, I have to get them doing art, but what can I do? And just these kind of quick low prep ones are always handy to have, especially even like if you have a substitute coming in, it's a really handy thing to kind of have one of these very simple art lessons for them. So
Did you find them very useful for kind of classroom management, kind of time management things as well? Say even if you're in art, you're doing a longer kind of project in art or an exercise that took a bit of time, and there's always people who are finished early or children finished early with these things. Did you find they're very useful to have, like, say, 8 or 10 of these short little projects there ready to go?
yeah, no, that was one thing, the optical illusions in particular, because I had third myself last year, and this was one of the lessons I did with them. When they finished kind of a bigger project, or even if they finished their maths early, or if they finished English early, I'll normally be like, oh, well, why don't you try make another optical illusion? Or if you do like a choice board, so I had a choice board of 9 different things they could do if they were finished, and there was always 1 or 2 quick art activities. It's really handy because you will have a child who, if you give them more maths to do on top of the maths, they'll switch off, and then they might start messing with their pal or something. So if you can give them an art activity, particularly again optical illusions, there's a lot of measuring, there's a lot of kind of different skills involved in that, and like that, like the supermarket one with the fruity faces could be a nice one to let 2 or 3 kind of work out at a time if they finish something early. So yeah, they'd be handy little early finishers.
Lovely option to be able to give the children in the class if if they have spare time, they're finished something, they can go and do stuff. We did some in the DABBLEDOO office. We did loads of artworks recently. We spent an afternoon doing these little short art exercises. It was lovely. Such a nice way to spend an afternoon.
Yes. So mindful though,
Yeah.
especially for like a classroom can be really intense for teachers and for pupils, and just to have that like quiet time, pop on a playlist, and whether they're coloring or cutting, it's such mindful activities. It's real good
I find
downtime.
as well, like even when there's like coloring or something that requires that little bit of concentration, like with the thaumatrope and figuring out, okay, well, and it's a great way to settle them. It's nice to kind of even at the start of the day to get them like in as an early morning activity, or at the end of the day, or even like that at the end of like the drum conjurers, mine were exhausted. So, it's nice to have something there that they can kind of enjoy doing. And yeah.
Well, we absolutely adored doing it. I'm on junior infants level art, and I'm very proud of myself. But yeah, like it's an exciting month, isn't it, May? So we've come to the end of the webinar. I think. Thank you so much to everyone who joined us. And if you're watching back, hope you enjoyed it. We're always looking for feedback, as always. We listen to you. And any of the surveys that you've just gotten out in the last couple of days, please fill them in. Be as honest as possible, as specific as possible as well, because we do listen and we change according to whatever works for the teachers, the pupils. And if there's anything we're missing out on, please let us know, because we love that feedback. So we're going to be back for the last webinar of the month in a couple of weeks, talking about School Fest, which is just the best fun ever. If you haven't done School Fest before, you were in for a treat. It's an arts festival that we have curated and created for you, for your schools. So stay tuned for all the updates on that. We look forward to talking about it at our next webinar, which will be the end of May. Right? Anything else?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Thank you so much, everybody.
Have a great month.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.